Yo, what is going on, guys? It is yours truly, LastChanceFPS, or you guys can call me by my name, Chance. And in today's video, boys, we are going to be ranking every single Call of Duty multiplayer game from the entire previous decade.
I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
So, of course, with it now being finally 2020 and a new decade upon us, I just wanted to actually take this time and make a video with you guys and reflect on all of the previous Call of Duty games we've got in the past and more or less see how they compete against one another. And yes, guys, I will admit I have been seeing a good amount of people do this exact same style video, but I've always had a knack for ranking style videos and I've always enjoyed making these style videos in general, so I just wanted to kind of get in on the fun. So in this video, guys, while I'm evaluating all of the different Call of Duties, I am going to be, of course, mentioning all of the pros from the game as well as the cons and basically form my opinion on how I feel about that game overall. Now, for any of you guys that have been around on this channel now, I did make a previous ranking video, I believe back in April of 2019, but that video was a lot different because I was factoring in the entire game as a whole and not just specifically multiplayer like I'm going to be doing in today's video. But regardless, if you didn't see that video, I highly recommend you guys go check it out. I will, of course, have it linked down in the description down below. But this time around, I'm going to be, of course, only factoring in the multiplayer side of things, I guess from more or less a pub stomping point of view. So I'm not going to be factoring in like competitive play, the campaign, spec ops, zombies, battle royale, any of that stuff, only coming from the multiplayer side of things.
Nice.
So yeah, guys, with all that stuff being said, I hope you guys go on to enjoy today's video. And of course, if you guys haven't already, drop a like on this video as well as commenting down below your guys' thoughts. Subscribe to the channel and turn on those bell notifications so you guys get notified every single time I upload a new video here on my channel. Follow my Twitch and all of my social medias. That'll be, of course, linked down in the description down below. And yeah, guys, with all that stuff being said, let's get on with the rest of today's video. Kicking off this list at the number 10 spot, this is going to go to Advanced Warfare. And guys, I don't think this is just the worst Call of Duty of the decade. I'm gonna go as far and even say that this is easily, and I mean easily, the worst Call of Duty multiplayer of all time. Where do I even begin with this game?
What the hell is even that?
For the negatives, Advanced Warfare had the most strict skill-based matchmaking we have ever seen in a Call of Duty game, and I don't think it's even close. It was so bad in this game that I remember it completely killed the fun factor, and it made playing pubs virtually unplayable. And another negative, which was a byproduct of the strict skill-based matchmaking, was the whole reverse boosting or buying modded / god accounts, which yes, I will admit I did partake playing on these accounts, but it was legit the only way for someone like me to actually have fun on this game. And when you were playing on these accounts with like a million deaths on it and a 0 KD, 0 win-loss, 0 accuracy, basically 0 everything, the kids you were getting matched up against, oh my god, they were so bad at the game. I don't think they even had hands, and it was like a free DNA bomb every game. Another big problem I had with Advanced Warfare was the fact that it had jetpacks, and I'll even say that it was the worst jetpack Call of Duty of the three that had the advanced movements, because unlike the two other games, Advanced Warfare with the jetpacks did not have recharge rates, so there was no limits to how many times you could boost, jump, or dash with this advanced movement. And this just led to complete chaos when playing the game, and I still to this day cannot wrap my head around the fact that who thought this would be a good idea over there? I also thought the maps in this game weren't anything crazy. I think a lot of them were either mediocre or trash, and I think Solar was like the only memorable map I can remember. I thought the camos were also a letdown because I believe this was the first Call of Duty that implemented a secret camo where if you got gold on every weapon in this game, you would unlock this secret camo being royalty. That camo was complete trash. It looked terrible, and I just thought there was zero incentive to actually go for something like that, so that was a complete wasted opportunity. And I saved the best for last. This was also the first Call of Duty in the franchise that not only implemented supply drops, but also pay-to-win gun variants. The fact that this was the first Call of Duty that started off all this BS microtransaction and pay-to-win weapons in this game that are totally RNG, I don't think I need to explain to you guys guys why this is such a terrible thing in this game. Now, even though I despise this game and I'm also confident that I am the biggest Advanced Warfare hater on the planet Earth, there were still a couple pros or things that I liked in this game, with one of them being the fact that it did have a secret kill streak, being the DNA bomb. I also thought the score streaks in this game were pretty solid all around, and I especially liked the feature where you could customize the score streaks and put on different attachments for them. And fun fact, I actually got my best gameplay of all time playing Advanced Warfare. Yes, the game that I hate the most. If I remember correctly, I went like 275 to 10 playing Domination on Solar. I think I also dropped a DNA bomb that game as well. I, of course, have had other good gameplays from other Call of Duties, but I think this is probably my best gameplay to date, and it's really weird saying that even though I hate this game with all my might. But with all that being said, I think Advanced Warfare is a terrible Call of Duty game all around, and that is why I have it here at the number 10 spot. Up next at the number 9 spot, this is going to go to Modern Warfare. Yes, guys, this year's Call of Duty is that bad.
Disappointed!
For the negatives, my biggest gripe, again, has to be the strict skill-based matchmaking. It's not as bad as Advanced Warfare skill-based matchmaking, but it's still really bad in its own right. I also believe that this game has the worst launch maps we have ever seen to date, and the fact how all of them either have safe spaces, promote camping playstyles, or just have a million doors everywhere, it just makes me think who over at Infinity Ward thought that this would be a good idea. The minimap in this game is also completely useless. If an enemy shoots their weapon without a suppressor, they do not show up on a minimap as a red dot, and instead they tried to implement the compass, but let's be honest, guys, that sucks too. The ghost perk is still wildly overpowered, where you don't even have to move with it to stay active, which Treyarch actually learned this lesson, but I guess Infinity Ward just doesn't care. And there is still no dead silence perk that has been added to Modern Warfare, as well as many other problems that could go on with this game. But for the positive, this game does have a couple things that I do appreciate. Obviously, the fact that it is a boots on the ground Call of Duty. It also does have a secret kill streak, being the tactical nuke. I wish it didn't end the game, but I'll definitely take a secret kill streak than not have one. I think the kill streaks overall are pretty solid. I think a couple of them could still definitely be buffed, but I think they're definitely better than not. The ground war game mode is also really fun in this game. Yes, it is a complete ripoff from Battlefield, but I like the fact how you can use kill streaks in this mode, so I generally find myself playing ground war more than the normal 6v6 or 10v10 modes. And the fact that it has crossplay where I could play with my friends on PC or Xbox is also a nice added feature, and of course there is no season pass in this game, which I could definitely appreciate. Modern Warfare as a whole is still not a good Call of Duty game. They could definitely fix a lot of the issues that I listed with this game, but until they do that, I'm gonna have it here at the number 9 spot. Next up on this list at the number 8 spot, this is going to go to Black Ops 4. Easily my least played Call of Duty multiplayer of all time. For the negatives, my biggest problem that I had with this game was the whole 150 health as well as the higher time to kill. I thought it was a terrible idea from the start. I still remember grinding out both weekends of the beta and basically trying to work around this problem that I had. But I think 2 days after launch, I just quit playing multiplayer entirely because it just didn't feel like I was playing a Call of Duty game. This game also had specialist abilities, which is pretty much an automatic L for me, similar to jetpacks, where they're basically a free kill streak for bad players to make themselves feel good. I also wasn't too keen of the minimap in this game. I don't think it was as bad as Modern Warfare's minimap situation, but it had the whole fog of war feature where you only saw whatever your teammates saw in their line of sight. I just don't understand why these developers constantly change up the minimap, where that's a stapled feature that no one's ever complained about in years past. Just leave it the same every single year. The self-healing in this game I thought was a more annoying feature than anything, because I would shoot someone and then they would instantly heal, and then it just added for a lot of inconsistent gunfights for me. The score streaks overall weren't anything crazy. I don't think they're the worst we've ever seen, but we've definitely had better games with score streaks, so honestly I thought they definitely could have done better, especially coming from Treyarch. This game, of course, brought back supply drops once again and had some pretty noticeable pay-to-win weapons, which just blows my mind how they continue to add this feature even though the community very clearly despises it. And the recycled content in this game was ridiculous. Like, for instance, all of the new maps that were in Black Ops 4 were terrible, but all of the remastered maps that they brought back completely saved this game. And I mean, who can't forget the fact that this game has a season pass, which was a complete ripoff. And if you bought that, I am so sorry for your loss. Now, for the pros, the only things that I could think of were the fact that, yes, it was a boots on the ground Call of Duty, so that's good. And I also thought the camos overall were pretty well done in Black Ops 4. But legit, guys, that's like the only things that I could think of. Granted, I did not play this game that much, but for the time that I did play and when watching other people play, this game really didn't have much going for it. So with that all being said, that's why I'm going to have Black Ops 4 here at the number 8 spot. Coming in at the number 7 spot, this is going to go to Infinite Warfare, the most hated Call of Duty of all time. And hey, if you don't believe me, just look at the amount of dislikes on their reveal trailer.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
For the negatives, my biggest problem that I had with this game was just the whole Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered bundle that they did. Now, this decision pissed off a lot of people, including myself, because it's pretty obvious why they made this decision, and a lot of people just wanted Modern Warfare Remastered as a standalone game. I understand from a business point of view why they made this decision, but at the end of the day, I thought it was a scumbag move coming from Activision. In terms of gameplay features, obviously Infinite Warfare had jetpacks, which is a automatic L, as well as a wall running feature, which was just really annoying to deal with. This game also had specialist abilities, so I guess that's just a double whammy for this game as well. And I also thought the whole weapons and killstreak variants were just really dumb and just added a lot of RNG to the game in general. The score streaks as a whole were a pretty big letdown. There were a couple that I remember were pretty solid, but in general, a lot of them were pretty useless. This game also had supply drops, which is obviously never a good thing you want to see in a Call of Duty game. It just added a lot of randomness to who got what type of weapon variants and whatnot, like I mentioned earlier. And of course, this game had a season pass, which was just a big middle finger to us. In terms of the pros, this game did have a secret kill streak being the deatomizer strike, but from what I remember correctly, going back to the weapon variants, the only way to actually get this nuke was to run a variant that had that nuke ability on it. So half the time, unless you had that variant, you couldn't even go for nukes. So I guess it was only when you had the correct variant going for these deatomizer strikes were fun. So I don't know, it was kind of a mixed bag from me personally. The hit detection in this game was actually amazing. It was spot on. It felt like every time you were shooting a bullet at an enemy, it was registering correctly, and it just felt really smooth and rewarding. The salvage in-game currency in Infinite Warfare was also great to see because it allowed you to purchase weapon variants directly instead of just randomly getting them through the supply drops. And even though I said earlier that the kill streaks were pretty bad overall, there was a variant for the advanced UAV that turned it into a VSAT, so that is definitely amazing anytime there's a VSAT in the game. And I also thought the camos were pretty well done as well. I think there was also a dark matter camo in this game, which I didn't get, but I thought looked really cool overall. So I think it's safe to say that Infinite Warfare definitely deserved the hate it got, and that's why I have it here at the number 7 spot. Up next at the number 6 spot, this is going to go to Ghost. And a lot of you might not believe me when I say this, but I actually enjoyed this game a good amount, and it's one of my favorite Call of Duties that I've ever played.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, yes, guys, a lot of you are probably laughing at me right now, and you can't believe that I just said that, and I totally understand why. But believe me, even though I like this game a lot, this game had a ton of problems with it. For the negatives, the time to kill was definitely too fast. I think it's also the fastest time to kill we've ever had in a Call of Duty game, so that was definitely not a good thing. The kill streaks as a whole were also completely useless in this game. game, I remember pretty much never using the assault strike package, and this game also had support streaks, which was a terrible idea to bring back. An overwhelming majority of the maps in this game were complete dog shit and just promoted people to camp and have defensive and slow play styles. I mean, maps like Stonehaven, Chasm, Freefall, I mean, these maps are like all-time worst maps. This game also had an annoying knifing animation, which basically rewarded people to panic knife, and all I have to say to that is, why? This game also had Danger Close Return as a perk, which you could pair with a noob tube, and if you're one of those people using that combination, I hate you. I hate you a lot. Not to mention, this game also had IEDs, and I remember pre-patch, these things were like miniature nukes, and there was no way of escaping them, and it was an automatic death. Every single camper and their mother used this piece of equipment, and oh my god, it was the most frustrating thing to hear that beeping noise going off. And if there was one weapon that I would say that pissed me off more than any other weapon I've ever had to play against in Call of Duty, it would have to be the M27 LMG with the thermal sight and suppressor. If you were one of those people using those weapons, I hated you with every fiber in my body. Now, since I have made it abundantly clear that this game was not perfect, there were definitely a couple things that I did enjoy with this game. Obviously, we'll get it out of the way, it was a boots on the ground Call of Duty. There was, of course, the secret kill streak being the chem strike. The hit detection in this game was actually spot on. I think Infinity Ward just really has the hit detection down to a T, and I think that also had something to do with the higher time to kill as well. The class setup was actually really underrated in Ghost. It had a lot of flexibility in terms of what perks you wanted to equip instead of limiting you with like a pick 10 system. And the specialist strike package in Ghost was amazing. It allowed me to get so many good gameplays in chem strikes, and it just made you feel like an absolute badass super soldier. So yes, even though I loved Call of Duty Ghost and I had so much nostalgia playing this game, I got to admit this game definitely had its fair share of problems that I could totally agree with, so I can't really have it any higher than here at the number 6 spot. Moving into the top 5 and coming in at number 5, we have World War II, and I'm almost positive that this game had the worst midnight release I've ever experienced. For the negatives, this game only had 9 launch maps. The score streaks in this game overall also weren't that good, but I remember instead of just buffing them and making them better or what they should have been, they instead added a basic training called Blitzkrieg, which improved all of the score streaks tenfold and made them noticeably better, which was dumb because it turned Blitzkrieg into a crux perk. So whoever thought that was a good idea, I don't know what they were thinking. The divisions and basic trainings weren't as bad as, let's say, specialist abilities, but they were still really annoying in the sense that they limited kind of like your options in terms of your created class and what you could run at the same time. The quick scoping with the Kar 98 and the incendiary rounds for the shotguns were the most annoying things to put up with in this game. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're one of those people using either of those weapons, I hope you step on Legos or something. This game also had supply drops, which just added more RNG and randomness to whatever you got in the game. And of course, it had the season pass, which just split up more of the player base and was just more of a big middle finger or FU to the Call of Duty community. For the positives in this game, obviously it was a boots on the ground Call of Duty. It's set in World War II. I mean, what were they gonna put jetpacks in this era? Like, it was pretty obvious. This game did have a secret kill streak being the V2 rocket, but I remember you had to prestige every single division before you could even go for it, so that was kind of annoying a little bit. The armor credits were also nice, which allowed you to purchase things directly, kind of like the salvage that I mentioned with Infinite Warfare, so that's definitely a bonus for this game. The war game mode completely saved me with this game because I learned very quickly that the 6v6 normal modes were not fun whatsoever, but the war game mode was a ton of fun. It lasted a long time and you got a fair amount of XP playing, and I just remember pretty much only playing the war game mode exclusively. I think like 90% of my playtime in World War II is just playing the war game mode, and I pretty much went all the way to Master Prestige just playing this one mode. It was that fun. And I just have to mention the fact that about halfway through this game's life cycle, they did the major overhaul after they removed both Michael Condrey and Glenn Schofield from Sledgehammer. And the new Sledgehammer people were amazing. They totally fixed all of the issues I had with this game, but the problem was it was like too much too late for me personally. So with all that being said, there's definitely some pros and cons with this game, but I think overall it's more or less in the middle of the pack, and that's why I have it here at the number 5 spot. Moving right along, at the number 4 spot, we have Black Ops 3, one of my most played Call of Duties of all time. For the negatives, this game did have jetpacks, but I will give Treyarch some credit that this was by far the best jetpack Call of Duty of the 3. This game did have wall running as a feature, which was definitely annoying to deal with, as well as specialist abilities, so again, it had that double whammy thing going on. Black Ops 3 obviously had supply drops, which was just really annoying. No one wanted to see that and just added way too much unnecessary randomness. But what was obviously the worst coming from the supply drops was the very blatant and probably the worst microtransactions we've ever seen in Call of Duty, being the pay-to-win DLC guns. Like, oh my god, they were so bad in this game. Like, I remember people getting the AN-94, the MSMC along with other guns, and they were so much better than the normal guns that everyone else had in the game. And it was just not a good look for Activision, and I don't think it's gotten that bad since, but whoo, it was so annoying to deal with when this game was out at the time. And of course, we can't forget the fact that the game had a season pass, which was really annoying, but I actually purchased it that year because I played a lot of zombies in Black Ops 3, so it was kind of worth it for me, but for the only multiplayer people, yeah, it was kind of a ripoff. For the positives in Black Ops 3, obviously the maps were amazing in this game. I remember maps like Stronghold, Redwood, along with many others that were just stellar maps to play on. The score streaks as well were amazing. It seems that Treyarch always does really good on the score streaks and just reward players for actually earning them. And I remember running some like Raps, VSAT, Stealth Chopper. They just put in absolute work. And of course, the camos in Black Ops 3 were amazing. I even went as far as earning the Dark Matter camo, which looked amazing on all of my weapons. And since I got Dark Matter, I just had to also go for the Gold Hero Armor. So I was one of those sweaty players using both the Gold Hero Armor and Dark Matter. So if you saw me in the lobby, you already knew it was about to go down. So even though Black Ops 3 had its fair problems with the game, more or less being kind of microtransactions and it being a jetpack Call of Duty, the game overall was pretty solid, and pub stopping in this game was definitely doable. So that's why I'm going to have it here at the number 4 spot. Alrighty, boys, we have made it to the top 3, and coming in at number 3, we have Modern Warfare 3, the first Call of Duty that I took somewhat seriously, and this is what got me hooked and addicted to this franchise. For the negatives, this game definitely had a little bit of a perk balance issue. I remember Sitrep Pro got buffed, and that was ridiculous getting Sound Horde. Obviously, Assassin was annoying to deal with, as well as others like Blind Eye and whatnot. The support and death streaks were definitely annoying and catered to bad players and got me killed off of so many good streaks. It was just infuriating. And also, this game had some pretty bad lag compensation or just bad connections in general. And granted, this wasn't 2011, so they probably didn't have the greatest servers at the time. But man, the fact that they didn't have dedicated servers, it was just really annoying and added for a lot of inconsistent gunfights where I shoot first and die first. Like, it was just really annoying to put up with. But for the positives, obviously Modern Warfare was a boots on the ground Call of Duty, so that's always good to see. This game had a secret kill streak, being the Moab, or the mother of all bombs, and oh my god, earning one of those in game was such a great feeling. Obviously the maps and the kill streaks were amazing in this game. I don't think I really have to go into depth why. This game also had pro perks, which I still don't understand why they have never brought that back. I thought that was such a nice feature to add, but the pro perks were amazing, especially when you pair this up with the specialist package. And don't even get me started on the specialist package. Earning your specialist bonus when you were going for Moabs in MW3, you just felt like the most unstoppable badass in the entire game. And some of the most iconic weapons like the ACR or the MP7 or even like the MSR sniper, those guns I will remember for years to come. And since this was my first Call of Duty, I spent a lot of time playing the infected game mode. I just found the most fun playing that at the time, and it was so much fun just going for Moabs and trying to avoid like the infected zombies and whatnot. MW3 easily had the best infected out of any other versions of the game mode, no doubt in my mind. So overall, I think MW3 was a pretty solid game. If it just had a little bit better connections and didn't have so much annoying shit in the game, it would definitely rank higher for me. But I think it's fair to put Modern Warfare 3 at the number 3 spot. Next up, as the runner-up spot and coming in at number 2, we have Black Ops 1, the beginning of true pub stomping. For the negatives, it was similar to MW3 in terms of its perk balance issues. I remember Ghost being extremely overpowered where you didn't have to move to stay off the radar, as well as Second Chance being in the game, which was obviously annoying to deal with. This game also had some pretty noticeably bad hit detection and lag, which definitely got me killed off of a lot of streaks. But for the positives in this game, I mean, where do I even begin? Obviously, it was a boots on the ground Call of Duty, just a classic feeling COD game. The maps were fantastic, some of the best we've ever gotten out of any Call of Duty game. And the kill streaks, man, I mean, just one of the greatest combination of streaks, of course, being the chopper gunner, VSAT, and dogs. I mean, what else do I even need to say? And I believe also Black Ops 1 was the first game that introduced the gold camo. I think MW2 kind of had like a half gold camo, but Black Ops 1 was the first true gold camo, which was obviously cool to see. And again, this game had some of the most iconic weapons. Like I remember the Galil, the FAMAS, as well as many others. Like there was just so many good, amazing guns to use in this game. And similar to other Call of Duties that I've mentioned in this list, it had its own in-game currency being these credits, which allowed you to buy different stuff to customize your soldier and whatnot. Overall, Black Ops 1 was a phenomenal Call of Duty game and definitely up there for some of the greatest we've ever gotten in the franchise, and that's why I have it here at the number 2 spot. But ladies and gentlemen, the moment you have all been waiting for, and coming in at the number 1 spot, we have, of course, the one, the only Black Ops 2, the greatest Call of Duty game of all time. This game really didn't have that many negatives. I do remember the quickscoping was pretty rampant in this game. It was pretty easy to pull off, as well as the target finder LMGs were annoying to deal with from time to time. And I do remember a little bit of a lag issue in the game, but I don't think it was as bad as, let's say, Black Ops 1 or MW3 had it. But to be honest, that's really it. Like, this game did not have that many problems, and I think it's easily the closest thing we've ever gotten to a perfect Call of Duty game. For the positives, obviously it's a boots on the ground Call of Duty, an automatic W. This game has some of the greatest maps we have ever had the privilege of playing on in this franchise. I mean, maps like Slums, Raid, Hijacked. I could go on and on. Almost every single map in this game is phenomenal. The score streaks go absolutely ham. I mean, oh my god, VSAT, K9, Dogs, Swarm. The amount of high kill gameplays you could get running the streaks in this game were almost limitless. The camos in this game were spectacular. I think this was even the first game that introduced the diamond camo, and it looked sexy as hell. Some of the most iconic weapons come from Black Ops 2, like the MSMC, the AN94, the Ballista, the DSR, the PDW. There's so many iconic weapons coming from Black Ops 2. And the reason why this is the clear-cut winner for the number 1 spot is that Black Ops 2 was the peak of pub stomping for the Call of Duty community. I don't think we will ever get as good of a pub stomping Call of Duty like we got in Black Ops 2. And I'm calling it right now, they will remaster Black Ops 2, and when that day happens, we, the Call of Duty community, will relive the glory days once again.
You're goddamn right.
So yeah, guys, that is my official Call of Duty multiplayer rankings of this decade from worst to best. Definitely comment down below what your guys' lists are. I am interested to see what Call of Duties you have in which order. And also let me know which Call of Duties you guys agree with me as well as disagree with me. I will definitely be open to see whatever you guys have to say. So with all that being said, and of course, if you guys haven't already, drop a like on this video as well as commenting down below your guys' thoughts. Subscribe to the channel and turn on those bell notifications to get notified every single time I upload a new video here on my channel. Follow my Twitch and all of my social medias. That'll be, of course, linked down in the description down below. And until next time, I will catch you guys in the next video.